Yeah. That's right. Checkmate. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I don't really want it, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I ain't got nothing on me, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Everybody wanna be labeled the truth, but they don't wanna walk a mile up in these shoes. I focus on fitness and handle my business and put on for the HBCU. Spending my prime, my waist on my grind. I'm revving my engine, I'm trained to go. Just like the diamond under the ground, I'm destined to shine, and that's for sure. Boy, take a seat, it's our turn. Yo, look at the moolah we earn. Don't play with fire, you'll learn. That way I would stay lit, we burn. Look, they swag, I'm swag, you swag. Y'all ain't ready, too bad. I overcome obstacles, nothing's impossible. I make them say, how did you do that? No matter the circumstances, boy, there ain't no second chances. But the ops got the advantage. Still gotta get up and handle it, that's facts. Dog, I'ma need some room, step back. One thing I won't do is lack. Only thing I pursue is cash. I don't really know about you. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I don't really want it, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I ain't got nothing on me, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I don't really want it, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I ain't got nothing on me, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad.
Okay, swag, swagger, swag, I got that. Once I get the ball, you never get the right back. Ringmaster, no top hat. We the best of the best, can't stop that. I steppers be stepping, alumni be rapping. Our drumliners out of this world, yeah, you know the deal. Show up on fields and serve with them L's like Louis Vuitton. We in our prime like 21. No matter the hill, we climb it. Cause they say that pressure make diamonds. Probably why our women the finest. We shining on haters. You hate all you want, you can't fade us. You do what you can, but we do it major. We SWAC. Jamail ain't nobody else can. You think you gon' beat us? You gon' need a brand new game plan. You gon' need a brand new offense. Your team is DOA. They gon' need a brand new coffin. We champions, we don't do talking. But I green like the boys in Boston. Yeah, we run it, we ain't got time for walking. Never no lane, we boss.
Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I don't really want it, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I ain't got nothing on me, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I don't really want it, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad. Swag, swagger, swag. Swag, swagger, swag. I ain't got nothing on me, cause I'm Michael Jackson bad.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009, back with another episode of PV versus everybody. And listen, we got an exciting show for this evening, man. Listen, it's going to be good. We're about to deep dive into TSU football with a special guest. I'm about to bring him up in a second. But first and foremost, y'all know what we got to do. You know, one, I got to thank you guys again for just showing love and showing some support. Look, you already know that's been happening, man. So I'm coming to you live from the cell phone this evening. So we feel it though. All right, y'all know I always try to give you guys some good quality. You know what I mean? And so we're gonna have some good quality for this evening, for tonight. But again, I gotta thank you guys because we had a goal recently, able to hit that goal, over 800 subscribers. But listen, if you appreciate the content that's being shared, man, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go and show some love. It's simple, it's easy, it's free. All right, it's free. It don't cost you nothing. All you gotta do is click the button. So if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man, and share some love. Also, listen, we got our special interview with our head coach Ty Dillard, the head women's basketball coach of the PV women's basketball team, coming up on June 3rd. So make sure you hit the notification bell and you're locked in for that, because that's going to be an awesome conversation when we have Coach Dillard on. And also, listen, you already know, man, if you ain't got yours yet, you got to get locked in with the home team, man. And the home team starts with getting you the right lender. And that's none other than PV alumni Jeff McKissick. He's a Texas licensed loan officer with Fairway Independent Mortgage Company, and he'll guide you seamlessly through the home buying process. See, many of us are unaware of our credit score or our true financial situation. but Jeff will help you develop a step-by-step plan to improve your financial standing, make your dream of owning a home achievable sooner than you think. He understands your situation may not be perfect, but listen, that's okay. The sooner you start the conversation, the sooner you two can solve issues like credit issues and student loans. So don't let the fear of achieving new heights hold you back from getting the home of your dreams. Perfect for your growing family and for hosting those TV watch parties. So get started now and taking the next step towards your new home and the next big life. Don't delay. Talk with Jeff today so you can be in your home tomorrow. And he looks forward to talking with you soon. And listen, once you find the lender, man, you get with you. Hey, listen, you get with me, right? We're going to find you your home. Then you need to make sure that home is exactly what you need it to be. And so when you're thinking big about your home purchase and want a thorough assessment of your biggest investment, you owe it to yourself to contact BIG. That's Blueprint Improvement Group. BIG provides home inspections in the greater Houston area and is owned and operated by proud PV mechanical engineer Neil Harris. He has experienced inspectors who use advanced tools to assess every aspect of your property from the roof to the foundation. So visit thinkbig.com or text 713-259-0673 to book your home inspection. Support the team that supports the team. And listen, talking about the home team, well, hey, Today we got more than a home team on the screen. You know what I'm saying? I had to open up the platform, you know what I mean? So we can also talk about them Texas Southern Tigers on the platform today, because we didn't know what we're getting ready for. So we're talking about doing deep dives. We're going to be going through all of the different teams, right? Having some special guests to talk about the different teams that we're going to be having to deal with this upcoming fall. And obviously, we got to start off with the Labor Day Classic with none other than Texas Southern Tigers. And I got my man, Jamail Matthews of Umatched Sports Zone. First of all, how are you doing this evening, my guy? What's been going on with you?
Hey, blessed. Hey, highly favored. Hey, nothing too much going on. Just getting ready for the Labor Day Classic, getting ready for the football season.
Hey, listen, honestly, because of the foolishness that happened last year, I got to say it like that, right? You know what I'm saying? Because of the foolishness that happened last year, I actually think this Labor Day Classic is going to be, I think we can actually sell out this Labor Day Classic straight up. You know what I'm saying? I think this is going to be a big game that a lot of people are going to look forward to. I feel like Shell Energy could get sold out this year. I don't know what your thought process is on it, though.
Oh, yeah, I definitely believe that, because you got to look at the narration of it. You got Dishman, just won his first Labor Day Classic, and you got the new dog in town that's trying to take over the Labor Day Classic. So when you combine those two narratives, it's gonna sell out. And I feel like people from the Hill, people from the Trey, gonna come out and support.
I think the same too, man. And I think one thing that has, we actually had Donna on yesterday, who was a part of the football forum that's actually helped to raise money for both of the institutions, right? PV and TSU, especially focused on the Labor Day Classic game. And one thing we talked about yesterday was just the fact that, man, the history has been lopsided on both sides, to where, man, TSU had a run for 15 years and PV had a run for 20 years. And it's like, since the game has been so kind of like, man, one team or the other has kind of controlled it, I feel like some of the luster of it has gone away, because the game itself has not been as competitive as it could have been, right, over just the last 2-3 decades, right? And I feel like if we get both of these programs back up to where they should be in the first place, when you talk about Texas HBCUs, there's no other HBCUs really, to me, that should be running the SWAC than the Texas HBCUs in the first place, right? You know what I'm saying? With the quality of talent that's in our areas, right? And so these two programs can elevate. It can really make the Labor Day Classic game itself back to where I feel like the fanfare and just the energy around it is on another level. And I feel like we because of last year and because of TJack coming in, it's starting to elevate and get there, man. And so, listen, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get to it. But hey, before we actually get into Coach Dishman's program, I really wanted to talk. You got Umatched Sports, quality content. If you guys have not checked out Umatched Sports on Instagram and on Twitter, man, you got to check it out. How did you get started with just connecting with the program, right? Getting that insights right into being able to connect with the players, and kind of what's your passion behind even starting it?
Well, first and foremost, I gotta give thanks to my brother. My brother been a linebacker coach at TSU since 2019. Even before 2019, before my brother got there, I had a close relationship with Clarence McKinney, who was the first coach at TSU while I was going to TSU during that period of time. So just having a connection with him, it opened the door to get closer to the players, training staff, coaches, built a relationship with them. They liked my work. And then, we're here now. One thing about it, I just like telling the player's story. Everybody deserves a story to be told. Why stop with athletes? With football, a lot of people don't see the person behind the helmet. And that's one thing that I want to do. I want to tell the story of the football player behind the helmet and have more people know the player. So when they score a touchdown, their story.
That's big. That's so interesting, right? Because that's literally one of the reasons why I started this channel, is because it's like, man, and I feel like if you connect the fan base, the general alum, the student body, even with the players, and they have a relation, it's almost like they feel like they have a relationship, then that's a different connection. And when you talk about the ability to build the fan base, and I think both of our institutions, that's something that we're both trying to do in the community. I think it's a different level when we now elevate the players and people have a experience with them, right? And they feel like they know them, right? You know what I mean? So it's super dope that, that you started that, man, able to have that access. And you've been doing something. So again, man, if y'all can check out and follow him on both Instagram and Twitter. Just dropped the second interview I saw too with Trenton Leary, right? I actually listened to the interview you dropped with Michael Akins, right? You know what I'm saying? The other week. Any interview with some Louisiana product, we already know I'm in there because I'm from Monroe, Louisiana. We already know what we do over there. And we already been having this argument about Texas and Louisiana high school football. We're not gonna bring it up right now. But listen, I gotta shout out my Louisiana guys, you know what I'm saying? So but now, talking about Clarence McKinney, man, I want to ask you too, as we're talking about getting into the Dishman era, if you go back and, sports is built on hypotheticals, that's just what we do, right? You know what I'm saying? 3 years ago, Alabama A&M, body gets hurt, right? Man, they come back. If you guys win that game, though, right? You're in the SWAC championship. Regardless, let's just say you make it to the SWAC, right? Let's say you don't win it, though. You make it to the SWAC and don't win it. Come back the next year, up 17 points, even with a hurt Andrew body. Let's say you win that game, but say the rest of the season still went the way it went, and so you guys don't make it back to the SWAC. Where do you feel like you guys would be on Clarence McKinney? What do you think the mindset would be in the TSU fan base? Would it still be like, hey, it's time to move on? Or you think the mindset would have been totally different if he actually gets over that hump at the end of that game, in 2022?
Well, one thing about it, it's all Clarence McKinney. I love Coach Clarence McKinney. He opened a lot of doors for me when he was at TSU. So I just want to say that first and foremost. But when you talk about that Alabama A&M game, and then you talk about that Prairie View game when we surrendered all those points against y'all that next season, I ultimately believe if they would have won the Alabama game, Andrew Body never got hurt, I think we would have won the SWAC West. That's just my honest opinion. We was on the momentum. Every game that season that we was in, we lost by the chin of our hairs. We shouldn't have lost them. We was in every game. So I feel like with the Alabama A&M game, we should have won. If we had Andrew Body, we would have won. And then if he would have beat Prairie View the next following year, I feel like he would still have a job. That's just my honest opinion because you got to look at it. It's just college sports in general. You go to basketball, you go to baseball, you go to volleyball. Winning keeps your job. Losing loses jobs. Dishman brought it up in his press conference. He brought it in his press conference. A lot of people was worried about this season when they went. They this was the first time since 1972 they won back-to-back conference games. Dishman said, we're not worried about it right now. We worried about the future. Yeah, we worry about now, you get lost for the future. So I think that's serves the same thing what happened with McKinney. Winning solves everything. No matter what sport you in, no matter what you do, winning solves everything.
I mean, listen, that's facts, right? You know what I'm saying? I think at the end of the day, it's so interesting to me to think of it because I personally, right, from the outside looking in, obviously, I feel like there was talent that McKinney brought into the program. You know what I'm saying? And you look at those year 1 to year 3. I mean, just that group of guys that was around Body that came in with him. I'm like, you had the quality there to get over the hump, right? And to kind of get to the next level. And I think probably that's why you would say, it's time to move on, because we had the quality, you did bring it in, but we just couldn't get over that hump, man. And so, it's just so interesting how things roll. But obviously you had, a situation where obviously it seemed like the whole SWAC and HBCU universe, right, was focused on TSU for a time, because at the end of the day, when you guys were looking like you were gonna make a SWAC retread move. Now listen, let me tell you, if it's anybody that's against SWAC retreads around here, you in the right place. Because listen, we were talking about it all this last year. Ain't no SWAC retread, and we feel like we made the right decision. All right, with Coach Jamail Jackson. All right, so now you were close to making that move with Fred McNair, right? Shout out to Fred McNair. He's done some great things, obviously, in his career. Then the whole thing tripped when maybe Andre Johnson is coming, and the name comes up, and we hire Chris. Give me just a point blank mindset when that move made, right, and you heard it almost in a sense, right? I don't know behind the scenes for you guys if it came out of nowhere, but obviously from the outside looking in, it seemed like, man, that name is out of left field from what we've been hearing.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. When you making a decision, let's just talk about life. I'm of the component. You take your time in making an important decision. It's just life. If you trying to buy a house, are you gonna rush into buying a house, and then 2 years later you looking around like, dang, why did I buy this house? I don't even like this house. Or would you rather take your time, go to several houses, and be like, nah, this is the one for me. I like the yard. We got a pool in the back. Got some for the kids in the back. I feel like that's what TSU did. They fielded everybody, made sure that we had the right coach, which was Coach Dishman, that could build a foundation, could relate to the community, could communicate to the recruits that's coming in, get people to come to TSU, understands Houston, played for the Oilers, so he knows what it takes to get to the next level for these players that want to play in the NFL or the CFL or the XFL or the UFL, whatever it may be. And I feel like they did the right thing. Now, a lot of people say it came out of left field. I had no problem with it. They took their time with it. They did the right thing, and they got the right coach in. So I had no problem with it.
And that's what matters, right? At the end of the day, right? If you get it right, it don't matter what field it come from, right? You know what I'm saying? Just make the right decision and make choice at the end of the day, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and listen, that's what Coach Dishman's focus was. He came in, he was very clear. Hey, listen, we not just focus on. I remember him over and over again in press. We're not focused on one game, right? We win a day classic, we lose it. The game's not over, right? The season's not over. We still got a chance to come back. And I think he mentioned that 2022 season, like, hey, we had a chance a few years ago where we could have still made the SWAC championship, right? So the season's not over, right? I don't want my guys to be so far up or so far down just based on one game. And so, he prepared his guys. And the one thing I definitely can see in the program is he brought in definitely some discipline, right? I think you guys were the least penalized team, either the least penalized or the second least penalized team in all the SWAC on last year, right? And obviously that's huge. If you're not yards, right, you're not giving guys extra field, I mean, that's going to help you guys to be able to win some games. Now, listen, and we're inviting the guests over. We're inviting the guests over here now. Listen, don't come over here and be disrespectful now, guys. All right, listen, don't be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I'm just playing with you. But hey, listen, that's not happening. That's not happening, right? But we gonna listen to Jamail because he's gonna help us to understand why you think that's gonna happen. But let's get into it, man, and just talk about, first of all, the culture for Coach Dishman, right? I know you've been really close around the program. That's something that's huge, right? That we talked about on last year. Things that's kept coming out about, hey, man, right players not playing, things of that nature. It's like, man, that's a culture issue, right? You know what I'm saying? That's a coaching issue and a culture issue, right? And so that's something that needs to be addressed. When you talk about at TSU, what have you seen, again, right? We appreciate everybody that's come before us, right? I would say that all the time. We talk about past players and coaches. But when you talk about this regime here with Coach Dishman, what do you feel like you see that as in this culture right now that shows that TSU is going to continue on this trajectory up?
Well, you got to see what he came in with. He came in with start fast, finish strong. You can carry that throughout the whole entire season. He wants each and every player, special teams, offense, or defense. You start the game fast and you finish strong. If you're able to do those two things, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a winning season. And I feel like the aspect that Coach Dishman brought in, taking care of players' bodies. He brought in a good strength and conditioning team. Two guys that are very respected around the program. You do that. You got the coaches on the same game plan as your strength and conditioning coaches. Now the players are buying into the system. Now you have the necessary things that you need to have, because a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people see, oh man, TSU losing, but you have to look at the groundwork of why TSU was losing. We had a lot of players hurt the last 2 seasons.
That's good.
If you don't have the key players on the field, a lot of times, I know a lot of people like to say next man up, but believe it or not, if you got Tom Brady on team and Tom Brady gets hurt, and you got Joe Blow that's going to come in and he throw 4 interceptions, you ain't gonna win no Super Bowl. You still need Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
The thing of it is, we had a lot of players hurt, and I feel like that was one of the biggest things Dishman brought in, taking care of players' bodies. He made sure that everybody is good, weightlifting, eating, making sure everything is taken care of, and I feel like that accomplishes what will happen in this season right here, because I feel like this season is putting the pieces together that was left over from last season, because we had KJ Cooper, he got hurt. You had a Danny Green, they had a good game against Prairie View, he got hurt. We had a couple offensive linemen that got hurt. Now you putting these guys back in that regime that's healthy. The sky's the limit.
No, that's big, right? And that's a big component that you mentioned right now. Sometimes we don't think about what's going on behind the scenes, and nutrition is huge, right? When you talk about the difference between FCS and G5 Power 4 level, nutrition is just huge. You know what I'm saying? Having a table, right, is huge, right? To be able to get your guys the right nutrition at the right times as well. When you're only working in many schools, right, with just cafeteria hours sometimes, right, with just whatever they got on their menu, right, not something that's really focused on, specifically what these players need. And even you talk about cross sports, we just talking football, but also what players may need in other sports to help them be at their optimum, right? So obviously that's a really a huge thing, when you talk about what Coach Dishman has done. And that's one thing that I definitely, noticed, and I was going to bring that up later on in the segment today, right, is because you did have a couple guys that was out. I mean, some major pieces, really, right? They were out, who now have a chance to come back, right, and to get on the field and to go to the next level. So, when we just talk about last year, when we talk about the season, recap from last year, what's your thought process overall on kind of how the season went, and what are kind of some of the things you mentioned, kind of some of the games that kind of got away. How do you feel just overall just about last year?
I feel like that set the stage. You lost some games that you were supposed to win, and you won some games that you were supposed to win. But the thing, and I seen somebody put in the comments, Southern and that Lamar game. When you talk about those two games, let me just preface the Southern game. So being in those tight situations, especially as a first year head coach in a collegiate football game, or you're a young football player and you've never been in that situation before, situational football. Once you experience this, experience trumplify everything. Yeah. So now that they have that experience in that Southern game, if I'm the punter and I know my back is against their opposing end zone, I'm going to just run out and take the 2-point, and we'll just kick it to them, and then we'll play defense and let the time run out. Now you're getting those experiences. Year ones was it, like I tell people all the time, just like the book of the Bible, this is Genesis. If you go read the Bible, it was certain things that was done in Genesis that wasn't supposed to be done, but it set the stage for the rest of the Bible. This will happen with Dishman area. In year one in Genesis, you're gonna have the things that wasn't supposed to be done. You have some things that are supposed to be done. And I feel like in year two, you learn from your mistakes. You learn we're supposed to do things this way, and I don't want to see it this way, and this way. And I feel like just being around the team in the spring, I feel like Coach Dishman, Coach Smith, Coach Billy Parker, Coach Billy Owens, Derek Matthews, Coach Haney, I feel like everybody's on the same page. Hey, we can't have this season. You made these mistakes last season. We cannot have this season. And I feel like that's been like the main emphasis.
No, that's good, man. And yeah, I mean, you look back and see, I mean, you think about teams in every sport, there is like a build-up a lot of times, right? You don't necessarily see teams go from, being, at the bottom of the league to just going and being champions the next year, right? There is a buildup most times, right? And so there's a buildup that you see over the course of time. And last year, like you say, you saw those games that you look back and say, man, I wish I could have that playback, right? Good to have it where it's like I can just have that playback versus, man, I need to have the game back. You know what I'm saying? That means you're in a really good position. And especially, listen, there's nothing worse than allowing Southern to be as lucky as they are, because they had a rabbit foot all last year, which is crazy. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on with this rabbit foot over in Baton Rouge, but they just kept getting over the hump. You know what I mean? Week in and week out, man. But I know you guys are ready to get back from this year, and also that Lamar game I know was probably a really, really tough one. Well, because you guys really had really won, and it was a top 20 team at the time, right? You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a top 25 FCS team at the time you guys were playing them. To be able to get that win would have been huge. Really, really huge for the program, man. So, moving on, man. Talking, I wanted to talk a little bit about, some of the guys. We live in this transfer portal area right now. It just is what it is. No matter what program you go to across the board, up and down the line, FCS, FBS, right? You're going to have guys transferring in. You're going to have guys transferring out, right? Talk a little bit about not some of the guys maybe who transfer out. So, talk some about the guys that you got returning right now, right? Because you talked about some of the guys that got hurt. Guy that I think of is Jacob Williams, right? Obviously was preseason, all SWAC at linebacker, who was coming back last year, ended up getting hurt early in the year. Also, like I talked about a little bit earlier, my guy Isaiah, Bogarty, right? Another guy who wasn't able to see a full season, there at linebacker. And these two guys that put up a lot of numbers for you guys. Now, it's great when you got guys on the bench that can come in like the Umar and rack up like 72 tackles, right? So it's great when you got guys that come off the bench, but then those guys get those numbers. Now they transfer out. You got to replace them, right? You know what I'm saying? So just talk a little bit about what you got returning, and talk about some of those, especially from those returners, and maybe some key pieces that that kind of maybe left out that showed, okay, we know Dishman was going to have to go out in this recruiting cycle to kind of fill these places.
When you talk about returning like players, so when you talk about the offense, you got to speak about KJ Cooper. No, we only had a one-game dose of KJ Cooper, but in that one game, we seen how magnificent it was. He get it done with his legs. He could get it done in the air. He could get it done in the intermediate area of passing. He was doing his thing in that one game, and I feel like it's a blessing in disguise. He got 1 full year of coaching on the sideline, learning the playbook, because it's gonna be the same playbook this season. Learning that playbook, getting more instilled in it, and now he ready to go. You got KJ Cooper. We talked about Trent Leary, and I feel like he's one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the SWAC because they use him in the Debo Samuel role that we talked about in the podcast. You got another wide receiver, Kieran Charlo. You got Marcus Willis, who just had a phenomenal spring camp. You got Danny Green, running back. You got Davion Ford. You got Athian Renfro. They got a multitude of running backs. And this offensive line, the offensive line, I'm not going to speak too much into it because I know Coach Smith don't want me to, but the offensive line that they piecing together, I feel like this offensive line is going to be something to tell. They're going to show out this year, and I think the run game is going to be an emphasis to come this season. And when you talk about the defensive side of the ball, of course, you talk about Jacob Williams, you talk about Isaiah Bogarty. I really like Edric Wheatley. He had a big spring, and I feel like he's going to have a phenomenal season at cornerback. You got Dylan Booker. A lot of people don't really know about him. He plays safety. I feel like he was a freshman last year, and I feel like he's going to step up big this year and produce big numbers, following the footsteps of like Kanari Simmons and Javius Williams that just graduated. Special teams, you're going to have, of course, you're going to have the Trent Learys and the Kieran Charlos back there returning, and I feel like they're going to be a dynamic force to deal with. I told Trent on the side, I think Trent going to have a couple kickoffs this year. He just got something about him that I've seen in the spring. I got him returning a couple. I wouldn't mind one against Prairie View, but I take them where they come.
Hey, listen, you got to take them where they come, because in the return game, man, you got to take that extra yardage at all times. And I definitely saw, last year, Charlo, obviously, Trent Leary is great to have both of those guys back. I know what's the tight end? Jaron Johnson, right? I know he went over to Bowling Green. Last year you had three guys who kind of, basically took a bulk of the catches, right, in the wide receiver room. Do you feel like you have a couple pieces there as well that can step up now to be that third and fourth piece, right? Because I think Bennett is also done too, right? Is he his eligibility done too as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one. He's the one. He made a couple nice snaps, right? I'm happy he done, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you got any guys you feel like, man, hey, I do think we got some other guys so that we can broaden that room, right? Because then it helps it to where, guys and teams are not able to really, put their whole, package on folks on, hey, man, if we can just stop Trenton, right? You know what I'm saying? And make them go elsewhere. We feel we're going to be really good, you know what I'm saying, as far as on the back end.
Well, I feel like one guy that I forgot to bring up, Roy Richardson. I feel like he has the capability to take over any game that he wants to. He has that catch rate, he has the speed, and I feel like given the opportunity, he can do amazing things. And one dude that I didn't want to bring up because I feel like he's a secret weapon going into the next season, into this season. I did a video on him, said he's going to be a breakout player this year. That's Cordell Rogers. I feel like Cordell Rogers has the same, what you've seen from Jaron Johnson over the last course of the season. He's that reliable target that you can go to. I feel like that's Cordell Rogers. But Cordell Rogers has this element about him. Oh, you think I'm just a catching tight end? I can't move. I'm gonna show you something. Yeah, as soon as the linebacker misses a tackle him, he going for 30 yards. He has that speed about him. So that's one dude that I really think is going to have a big impact this season.
So I see, guys. So first of all, appreciate you for the super chat. He said we asked Beyonce we could add PVMU for Christmas halftime. She said Ocean Soul is the best and didn't want to settle for Superb. Hey, listen, we got. My mom always told me be nice to guests. You know what I'm saying? So listen, because Jamail's my guest, I'm gonna let you slide. But listen, they gonna handle my lightweight in the comments, though. They gonna handle my lightweight in the comments. But yeah, man. So one thing on the offensive side, and actually I thought the situation with Danny Green was more that you guys was trying to protect his red shirt, but I now understand, right, that he did have an injury last year, right? Which at the end of the day, that's still he now still has that extra year, right? And so that's a real good thing. It's crazy to me that this guy didn't even have an offer, you know what I'm saying, even into the spring of his senior year, which is just crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? And obviously then got the offer from TSU and came in. You saw what he did, but he was a guy in South Oak Cliff who was that guy, right? You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense that he was able to come in and really add that to your running back room. And you talked about Renfro, right, that's coming back. You talked about Davion Ford, and so you really feel comfortable on the offensive side, especially being able to run the ball. I think you guys last year. Through the passing game, I think averaged about 134 yards a game in conference. Do you feel like KJ Cooper is that guy that, even though he only showed that in that one game, you feel like he is the guy that can take you through a full year campaign and be able to get it done, through the air as well, so you guys aren't so, one-dimensional? Because if you guys can add a consistent pass game, that would really make you guys a lot more dangerous, because now instead of people being able to focus on the run and keep you under that 150 mark in the running game, and just that element, right, of especially big plays through the pass game, your running game really can explode. And now you're talking about averaging that 170, 180 a game, which now you can really do some damage on the ground. What's your thoughts on that with KJ?
I feel honestly that KJ Cooper has the it factor. Just seeing him, how he commands the offense, how he gets to the point, how he expects things out of his wide receivers, his tight ends, his offensive line, how he gets the guys going, how he gets the whole team going. And I feel like he has the it factor. And like I tell people all the time, he has the ability where he can throw the deep ball, he can throw a medium pass ball, he can throw screens, he can run. And I feel like at that size, that's all you need. And I feel like if you give him a full season, I feel like he can have the yards, and I feel like he can connect with a Trenton Leary, a Kyrian Charlo, or a Cordell Rogers and do big things, because they have all the weapons. They was just missing their quarterback last season. And Jordan Davis did an amazing job last season. Yeah, and I can't sell him short. Jordan Davis did an amazing job coming in and filling in for KJ Cooper during the time that we needed him. He brought a lot of games home. But KJ Cooper, yeah, I feel he does have that it factor.
Yeah, and I feel I don't know. I really actually like how Jace played in 2023. I really feel like the wide receivers, when I look back at those games you guys had, I feel like the wide receivers actually let him down. You know what I'm saying? His numbers could have been way better than they were. Obviously, he still was a newcomer of the year. And I feel like his numbers fell short, not even necessarily because of him per se, right? But like I say, I think the wide receiver room kind of let him down and kind of put some balls on the ground that really they could have brought in, and maybe some games even that year would have been a lot different for you guys. But it seemed like he wasn't the guy that Dishman really didn't feel him last year, even as the backup. Um, you know, so that was really interesting though to see. But again, that's Dishman came in and said he had the mentality like, hey, nobody got a spot, nobody's a starter. You know what I mean? We going week to week. You got to show me this week that you a guy who gonna be able to start and get on the field. But now I want to switch over to the defensive side, because I think on the defensive side is where, offense, I feel like you guys got some continuity there. On the defensive side, I feel like, man, you guys did lose a lot of pieces. You know what I'm saying? And kind of as I was just getting ready for the show, I didn't realize that you guys lost as many pieces as I originally knew about. Right? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel guys can kind of replace, some of those guys like MJ Henson? Obviously we talked about Umar, who came in now. Now he wasn't the guy that was going to be the guy, but he showed up last year, right? And so now, even if you say we got to replace that depth, right? Because Jacob Williams and Bogarty is going to step back in the starting roles, but now we got to replace that depth, et cetera. And on the defensive line with like Sasir Massey and and guys like that, obviously. How are you guys able in the transfer portal to replace some of that pieces that you needed?
Talking about the transfer report, I feel like Dishman and his staff did an amazing job addressing the pieces that they needed to: wide receiver, defensive line, cornerback, safety. They addressed the areas where they needed players. When you talk about like the defense as a whole, you say we lost Sincere. I feel like when you have guys like Michael Akins, you have guys like DeMarcus Thompson, you
Right.
have those guys on that defensive line. Then you backdoor that with Jacob Williams and Isaiah Bogarty. You got Egypt Wheatley, you got Dylan Booker, and you just plug and chug where you missing pieces at. And I feel like at the end of the day, I think we have a good coaching staff that, in which is a short period of time with the players coming in. Because like I tell people, you blink 5 times, Labor Day Classic will be here.
Yeah.
Time is going. But I feel like
Yeah.
with Coach Parker, you have my brother Derek Matthews, whatever position it is. I feel like we have great teachers that can fast track their success in this defense and make plays. I feel like no matter what position, I feel like they can get each and every player ready to go this season.
Now, I know you mentioned, I don't understand. To me, and this just my thought process, right? In general, but I like what's the point? The safety that you guys have, right? Like, he transfers out and goes to like Alcorn. It's like, why transfer and go to Alcorn? You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to say it. I'm saying it for you, okay? You know what I'm saying? Because I know you're gonna keep your connection with the players. I get you, right? So I'm gonna say it for you. Why you transferring out and going to Alcorn, my guy? Like, we building something, and you gonna leave and go to Alcorn? To me, those type of things, I'm like, all right, you going and you leaving and going to a Tennessee Tech, or definitely you stepping up and going to a Bowling Green, or Sac State is paying everybody bags, right? So definitely go get your bag. You're going to Sacramento State, right? But if you're going to Alcorn, bro, we gonna beat Alcorn. Like, why are you transferring to Alcorn? You see what I'm saying? I just don't understand why guys make, to me, lateral. Not even Is it a lateral move, or is it a move that you're going down, right? Because you got your position, you got your spot here. You've shown what you can do to the coaching staff. To me, it's like stay and build with what we got going so we can get to that next level. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your thoughts is on that. I know you Umatched sports, but people versus everybody now, so you can let it out. You know what I'm saying? If you need to.
Nah, I honestly believe whatever the player think is best for them, they can do that. Whether that's staying in the SWAC, You go, like you said, going to a tier level school like a Sacramento State. You got MJ Henson going to Florida Atlantic. If you make those decisions, whatever
Right.
you think is best for you to make it to the NFL, or best for your family, what's best for whatever you got going on. Because the best example I can give you, we had a couple. I think that was last season, Dishman first year. We had C.J. Henderson. C.J. Henderson was one of our best safeties. He went to Grambling. So we couldn't stop that. Whatever you think is best for you, we can't stop that. And
Yeah.
I really can't hold no hard feelings. Like with MJ, I hope MJ have a marvelous season, have 5 interceptions, and do what he got to do. And then you had guys like Isaiah Hamilton a couple years ago, went to U of H, then he went to Ole Miss. I still talk to him to this day, and I wish the best for him.
Listen.
Yeah, I honestly,
I understand. I'm just saying those moves make sense to me, right? Florida Atlantic, right? Sacramento State. You going to FAU, bro? You going to Alcorn? Like, why you going to Alcorn when you can stay here and we can win the West? Why you going to Alcorn, right? I mean, I'm just saying that, by the way. That's hypothetical because you're not gonna win the West, right? You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, that's how he should feel. He should feel like we gonna win the West, right? Why you going to Alcorn? That's just me. Jamail, you ain't gotta come with me. Stay over there. Don't let me take you down this road. But I'm gonna say it for you, bro. You should have stayed at TSU. Why you going to Alcorn? Y'all gonna be 5th place this year. Why you going over there? That don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, like, do his best for you. Do his best for you, like Jamail say. But now, hey, True Seeker says, man, what's your thoughts on the strength and conditioning facility?
Oh, I love it. When you talk about every major football program across the nation, they have a good strength and conditioning facility where your players can work out, lift weights, recover, and I feel like TSU did that. They invested into their athletes, and now the athletes are going to put out a product on the field that's going to be amazing, and it's state of the art. I really love it, and if you ask any player, they love it too. Strength and conditioning staff love it. Justin Sorrell, Johanna C. Wright, the head key components of the strength and conditioning team, they really love it, and I feel like it's going to help this football team take another step that's needed.
Adrian Crook, it's a Southern guy, so we know he don't know how to do math though. But he's saying 2-9. He's saying 2-9.
2-9. Oh, my screen backwards. This say 9-2. I might be tripping.
Oh,
I see 9-2. Tell him appreciate it.
He see 9-2. Nick say, man, the Andre body transfer still kind of hurt. Listen, I feel you. I understand, because listen, to me, like I said, I think McKinley definitely brought in some talent. You know, if you can build, and listen, this is just the era we in now. You got to live with guys transferring out. You got to live with guys transferring in. It just is what it is, right? And so now coaches have to figure out how to build programs in this era. And Dishman did a great job of saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to just rely on the transfer portal, right? Because he brought in a slew of like high school guys, right? And a lot of local high school guys, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of the guys are going to need time to be able to be what you want to get in a program. But again, he's looking to still build a program from the high school ranks, from the Houston, from especially the Houston, Dallas, you know what I'm saying, San Antonio scene. And so, you know, that's what we're seeing, man. But I did want to highlight a couple of the transfers that I saw you guys had pop over that I think are definitely some pieces that brought in that look to, you know, could fill some of these slots, especially on the defensive side, that I think you guys are wanting to fill and be able to come in and be able to contribute right now, right? Jason Patterson is one of the, I think, guy that obviously pops off immediately. 755 snaps, right, over the last 2 years, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, over last year, right? Had a 78.6 run defense grade from PFF, 20 tackles, 4 sacks in 2024, and also had 21 tackles and 2 sacks back in 2022, you know, at the Canes. So I think that's a big piece on the defensive line that you guys have brought in that can replace some of that talent you had leave. Also, you got Christian Zachary, again, a SWAC transfer coming over from Alabama A&M, over 300 snaps at Liberty back in 2021 to 2022. He transferred to Southern before last year, Alabama A&M. So it looks like a guy who's like, man, just needs that time on the field. And I think obviously has an opportunity to get there, right? When you have some guys kind of step out You know what I mean? And so that's going to be good for him. And also an older guy, right? You know what I'm saying? A guy who's played in the past and now is coming to bring in some of that experience over. You also got Eric Dukes, right, from Bryant University, 11 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss last year, 71% run defense grade, and 68.8 pass defense grade with 168 snaps on last year at Bryant University. And then also Calvin Lester on the offensive line. You talk about the offensive line, right? Talk about some of the hurt and also some of the pieces. Well, this is a guy who's a 3-year starter, 2 years started at Alabama and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Last year started at Mississippi Valley, played left guard and right guard at both at different places, right? Almost 2,000 snaps in the SWAC, which is crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? And so obviously you bring it, and he increased in his run blocking and pass blocking grade over the last year. So that's obviously a great piece to come in because it looks like you bring that guy in and come on the offensive line in order to deal in the trenches to get where we want to go. Before we transition, man, is there any specific transfer that you want to maybe make mention of that maybe guys didn't have on their radar?
I feel like Jalen Patterson is going to be good. I had a chance to talk to his dad. I want to say probably 2 months ago. He was just telling me like, dog. That's all he can say is dog. And I feel like when you talk about that defensive line, I feel like that's gonna open up a lot of things for this defense. You got Jacob Williams back and you got Isaiah Bogutry, but just imagine if you have a fearsome defensive line that can open so many doors for them to get sacks, get tackles, you know. And I feel like that's gonna happen this year, and I feel like he's gonna be the main guy.
No, yeah, I think that's definitely a guy right. Say we want him to come in and make an immediate impact. As a guy who's made an impact on his level. This is why I really like FCS transfers, right? You guys did brought in, right, some FBS transfers as well, right? But I think the FCS transfers, just across the board in general, are guys who you look to bring in guys who have playing experience already where they're coming from, right? And so they can kind of seamlessly fit because you've seen what they can do. Sometimes the FBS guys really like you're taking a shot on guys who've shown that they have potential, but really you don't necessarily know if you're going to hit or miss. The FCS, the D2, guys, I feel like you can definitely know, like, hey, this D2 guy coming up, man, I know he can play. This FCS guy that's coming over, I know whether he can play or not. You know, when you get to the FBS level, unless it's a guy who's, again, played on the FBS level that's transferring over, it's like you're kind of like, man, I'm really what we could do maybe fit in our team. But a lot of time I feel like that can be hit and miss, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's big for you guys to get the FBS transfers over, you know what I'm saying, to the room. And also brought some JUCO guys in. Matthew Cook, junior college linebacker, had 27 tackles, a tackle for a loss on last year. And also Cameron Blanton, DB, 24 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and 3 pass breakup from Los Angeles Community College. I think he's gonna come in and try to vie for some playing time over there too and get in that rotation. But with that said, man, I also want to pull up you guys scheduled for this upcoming year. I just put it on the screen. He said Zach also says my guy Coach Fred been out here recruiting. You know, now Zach got the wrong purple and gold on sometimes, right? You know what I'm saying? So we gotta forgive Zach. He got some good knowledge and information though. But listen, we be having to forgive him because he been old. So we gotta. But it's okay. So I want to pull up y'all schedule real quick, man. Just get your thought process on the schedule. One, what's your thoughts just on the schedule in general? Do you like the layout? Do you feel like it's set up for you guys to really be able to make another forward move this year? And kind of just give me your thought process on do you feel like you guys have the ability to get over that hump this year and make it to the SWAC championship game based on what you got laid out before you?
Yeah, I really like the schedule. One being, you know, you got Cal and Lamar, then you go to Mississippi Valley State, and then just looking at the rest of the schedule, I feel like it's favorable. One, which I talk to my dad about all the time, you go to Cal. He always tell me this: any man can get beaten at any time. And I feel like if people go back and watch that 2022 season that you mentioned with Andrew Body, they had a chance to beat Rice and they had a chance to beat UTSA. They had UTSA on their heels that season. And I feel like if TSU comes in with the right mindset, similar to what they did with Lamar, they come in with the right mindset, they pretty much unstoppable. And I really like this schedule. I've been looking at it a lot. Had my chance to make my own schedule and put it on Unmatched Sports, but I really like it. One of the main aspects that I like about it a lot, we get to go against Andrew Body. You know, Andrew Body's return against TSU, I'm really, and I'm gonna see if I can go to the game. But I got that game penciled in with preview, but I got that game really penciled in though.
Hey, listen, I know they gotta be one that's penciled in on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, man, based on everything. And again, it's still, I know obviously it's still love, but it's like, hey, but you're not gonna beat us though. But you definitely not gonna beat us though, right? That's what we're not gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
So I know they're definitely gonna be.
I told Mike,
Go ahead.
Michael Akins. Yeah, I told Michael Akins the other day. I was like, yeah, he gonna have 304 touchdowns, but we still gonna walk out of there with a W though. He can say he can have all his passing yards and touchdowns, but we still gonna walk away with a W though.
Hey, listen, and at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? You know what I'm saying? End of the day, it's about walking away with the dub, man. And so, I know that's going to be really, really big. That's going to be definitely a huge game. Strucy could say he don't even see him playing at ASU. I know he didn't play in the spring. I know he's still probably healing. I know Eddie Robinson hoping he better hope that he come back because all his chips is in that body. All right, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just the reality because he ain't got nobody behind him. That's the reality of the situation. So he better hope that body come back. You know what I'm saying? Or he gonna get body. That's just the reality of the situation. Because I don't know how good the ASU defense is gonna be this year. Now they done lost their kind of defense in. So we gonna really see if the defense is rods or if the defense is Ryans. We about to really find out this year what's what from a defensive side of things. But we gonna see. And listen, Alabama and they're making some moves, bro. Like I'm just being real with you. Like when you look at what they've done and what Coach, Sam Shade has done over there, they've been making some moves too. So it's gonna be interesting, I think, on the east side of things too as well. But before we close out, man, what's your thoughts on just the SWAC East? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel that's gonna shake up this year? Do you feel like Jackson State is kind of gonna just walk back into the SWAC championship game, and do you think there's somebody on that side that can actually give them a run?
Like I told you, I feel like anybody can get beat, but it just I want to see how they come into the season. When I say them, I mean Jackson State. Are they gonna come into this season just saying, "Oh, this is my division," and they get big headed and then they start losing games, or is they gonna come in and dominate and it's just theirs to lose? And FAMU do what they do, or the many other teams that's in that division do what they got to do. But I ultimately see Jackson State. They gonna do what they got to do, win, and then we'll see them on the other side.
Yeah. So, listen. So basically, what he's saying is that Jackson's gonna be coming to Prairie View for the SWAC championship game. That's basically that. I'm interpreting what you're saying. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what I heard.
Oh yeah. We'll TSU will play at Prairie View Stadium against Jackson State. That's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll do it that way. That sounds good. That sounds good.
Oh man, hey, listen. I hope you guys appreciated the deep dive, man, into the Texas Southern football program. First of all, like I say, thank you so much, Jamail, for coming on and just sharing, some insight into the program. Like you say, what your platform is for is elevating the players. And like I say, that's what we seek to do here, because a lot of our players in the SWAC, unfortunately, don't get the mentions, right? You know what I'm saying? Like when I look at LSU, bro, they got YouTube channels that just play LSU practices, bro. I mean, like every rep from every quarterback. I mean, from 1 to 7. You feel me? So it's like the coverage on these guys and like people knowing the product and like what guys can do is already there and built into the fan base. And so if we want to elevate our product, we got to also elevate the players that make the product what it is, right? You know what I'm saying? And so you've obviously been doing that with the Texas Southern football program with Umatched Sports. So can you just tell people again, man, just drop your handles, let people know where they can find you, where they can follow you. You've been dropping some interviews, right, with the players on Apple Podcasts. Just let everybody follow those things so that way they can be tapped in.
All right, so it's Unmatched Sports Umatched_sports on Instagram, and then on Twitter it's Jamail Matthews.
And that's Jamail, right?
Yeah, and then it's just Matthews with one T, and you'll be able to find all the TSU stuff.
Got you, man. Hey, listen, you guys want to tap in, man? Definitely hit them up. Again, we appreciate you for coming over and sharing. Hey, listen, this is I got one more minute left, and then I can go back into the PV versus everybody mode. You know what I'm saying? We have guests. We about to let the kids go, and it's about to go. Now I'm just messing with you, but it always is what it is. I can't wait for the Labor Day Classic, man. I do hope it's a good game for our sake. Okay, you know what I'm saying? For us, okay? Yeah, I can't say I want it to be close or nothing like that, because I'll be lying. All right, I want it to be a massacre. All right, you know what I'm saying? But I do want programs to be good, because I do think that makes the product great, right? I think that elevates, you know what I'm saying, people wanting to see the product and making Houston, right, a hub, you know, and I want all spec programs to elevate, right? So we need to always win against the South. We need to always be winning against. That's my desire. That's what I want to see. I just want everybody to lose the PV when they play PV. That's really all I want. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Other than that, you know what I'm saying? But man, I appreciate you coming on, my guy. You always got a spot here. You ever want to holler, come share some stuff, you can do that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Hey, but we appreciate all y'all for jumping on. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, man, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You know, share some love. It's simple. That's all you got to do. Listen, I know y'all been waiting for it, because y'all thought that I wasn't gonna do what y'all already know I'm gonna do. Listen, they already made. I'm gonna drop them, so just be on the lookout, right? I already put the teaser out. The shirt's coming soon, all right? You know what I'm saying? Listen, we got Jamail here. We respect my guy, but I'm still gonna drop them championship shirts. You feel me? I'm still gonna do it. You already know, all right? So with that said, man, I'm gonna holler at y'all. We'll see y'all later.